I'd like to call this Town of Dayton Commission on Disability meeting. Today is 3/7/24. We are at prime time, 1059 Somerset Avenue. The time is 5:02. This is a Zoom meeting being recorded. I'd like to have the members, because we have some members on Zoom, everyone just announce themselves.
Jonathan Gale.
Tim Toolin, Clark.
Christina de Oliveira.
Kevin Smith.
And Nicole Mello. If we could do the Pledge of Allegiance at this time. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we have a light agenda. In new business, I had put on member reports. Kevin had mentioned doing something kind of like what the selectmen do. I didn't put anyone's particular name because at this point I don't know who has report, and I thought if I left it vague, anyone could jump in if they have some kind of report. And Kevin, do you want to kind of go off of what? With that?
So what I had pitched to Nicole was just so we don't have like the redundancy of just constantly being KMA report, it kind of can get like boring and monotonous. Is because we all kind of have different experiences. I thought it would be nice, and it doesn't have to, like, certainly everybody doesn't have to do it every month, but like we could share something that we've experienced or came across that pertains to the Commission on Disability, and just kind of share with the group if it's something that we can help each other with, if it's like an initiative somebody wants to do, or just simply like inform something that could be helpful and informative for the community, so we can kind of just be able to share it. Like I had a couple things myself, just Parks and Recs related, so like that's what I kind of stemmed from, and I figured, he was a teacher, he was a health nurse, ADA coordinator, everybody's got a different aspect of
So just orally, right?
Yeah, just if like you came across something that you thought it would be nice for the committee to briefly.
And I think that's a good idea. I think it's a great idea to start doing that.
And I'll leave it as member reports unless somebody contacts me personally, and like if Tim said, oh, I have a report, I'll add your name and stuff like that. But other than that, I'll just leave it vague so that anyone can jump in if something comes up.
Okay.
Does anyone have anything that they'd like to report?
Yeah, I'll start off quick. So Parks and Rec has the Easter egg hunt coming up on the 23rd. One thing that I've always kind of struggled with in the 3 years that I've been doing it is coming up with like something that's inclusive. And I've kind of like, it's been okay, but it's also been like a little bit of a failure at times because like I've used the maps to really concentrate on like the physical access and putting things up at a height where everybody can reach them. And then actually a town resident actually reached out to me, and she had said, what about any kids with sensory issues? And she had actually pitched like, is there like a quiet space? And I just feel like, because it won't, on a Saturday morning it's not used, and we have some decorations, we're just gonna decorate the hallway of the lower level of town hall. One, it's completely accessible, we don't have to worry about mud and all this other stuff and putting down mats, and it's a quiet space. So we're gonna make that like the inclusive or accessible and sensory friendly part of the Easter egg hunt. So that was something kind of neat and a new idea that I think will work well as compared to what we've tried to do in the past. It's also kind of hard to like emphasize that when we've done it outside on the track. It's like that's like the accessible area, because there's usually everybody just free for all, and you can't.
You're fighting kids off from a certain area.
So I think this will work out well. And then the only other thing I had, and I'll send you guys a link, and this is also somewhat Parks and Rec related. So there's a woman in Rhode Island who has a website and a program called RAMP. So it's Real Access Motivates Progress. Her name's Tina. I'm going to butcher her last name, so I'm going to try to, it's like Bernard. She had this really, really neat thing that she designed with the Steel Yard in Providence, which is like a fabrication and art like center. And it's called Tina's Table. So it's this wheelchair accessible table, and it top wise, it looks a lot like a normal picnic table. One thing that's neat is one side is a bench and the other side has wheelchair slots, and then you can wheelchair in from the end. But the benches are fabricated so that the ends look like wheelchairs, so it's like when everybody's sitting, it looks like everybody's in a wheelchair. It's just really neat. And they try to make it as affordable as possible because it's not something that they're trying to profit off of. It's that they're trying to make it a little bit more, socially acceptable to utilize this. So I'll send you guys the link to that. This is something I'm gonna look into for Parks and Rec. I just thought it was really, really neat. And her website is great. She even started a program where they do like ADA business audits for at no cost. So she goes around to Rhode Island businesses and like gives them a list of things that they could do better to make the building more accessible. So it's pretty neat program. So I'll send that along so everybody can take a look at it.
That sounds good.
So, I'm sorry, Kevin, are you finished or not yet?
Could you wait 1 minute, Jonathan, because Tim has something.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I noticed that Town Line Redemption has people employed there with intellectual disabilities, and I thought that was a really nice thing. And I'm just wondering if there was something we could do to promote businesses to maybe consider hiring other people in the town with disabilities.
And there are other, like, Origio Farms, they have, some of the co-op folks come and work there. I don't know how we would go about that, but that would be great to have, to try to encourage.
Yeah, even if we just try to connect people with co-op.
Yeah,
Business owners
because
with
co-op has employment services, a gentleman that's what he does, is try to connect people with,
Okay,
that, so.
maybe we could advertise it somehow, like to just, advertise for people with disabilities, that are willing to work and, wanna be involved, we can
Seems
make
like a good connection with the, what is it, the DIC? Is that what is the, they, Rafa's husband is.
Oh, the developmental,
No.
That's
The-
Spotlight, right?
The Dayton,
Developmental Industrial Committee.
yes, because they do a lot with businesses in town, and they might be able to connect us with businesses and be able to like kind of funnel it that way. Because I think that's,
Along those lines, I'm actually be meeting with the director of the Chamber of Commerce next week. And she was at the last meeting that we had over at the Aggie. And we just have been playing phone tag at different times and haven't connected. But one of the things that we've talked about is having me go to the Chamber of Commerce and to a couple of their other meetings for local businesses, specifically to talk about employing people with disabilities in the Dighton and surrounding communities. So,
yeah, great connection.
yeah, I think the goal is really to begin to get employers to understand, what's involved in employing with people with disability, what with people with disability, intellectual disability, physical disability can bring to employment. It can be something in a supermarket, as you said earlier, it could be at Rojo's, it could be, at Dunkin' Donuts for that matter. It's wherever we can get people with different types of disability to be employed. And it's also letting the employers know about there are incentives in some of these programs for hiring people with disabilities. So part of it is going to be to give them some educational tools as well. So stay tuned. Hopefully at our next meeting of the COD, I can report back on that.
Perfect, sounds good.
Did you have anything else?
No, that was it.
That was excellent. Jonathan, did you have something to add?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, and I know Kevin has signed up for this already, but there's what's called community access monitoring training, which is it's a basic 2-day training session. Not that everybody has that time at this point, and I understand that, but there's a basic 2-day session on community access monitoring, which is teaching folks how to understand the things that you look at in your community and public spaces. What's accessible, what's not accessible, what does it mean to make it accessible? How do you do the measurements? What are the differences between Title I through Title VII? How does Title II, which is the biggest one that we work with, impact the work that people with disability relationships need to know? So it's an educational program. It's free of charge. And after that, you are certified to be able to provide information back to your community leaders as well, and to assist them in planning of projects and understanding what to do. The planning is done and the training is done by Jeffrey Dugan from the Massachusetts Office on Disability. And as I said, I know that Kevin has already signed up. I'm going to send that link out to everyone, but I won't be doing it until Monday when I get back to Massachusetts, or Sunday night. And if anybody else is interested, there are other sessions that come up as well, not just in April.
Yeah, May and June were posted, Jonathan.
Okay, yeah, because I knew the April one was there, and there are others. And then what I also would suggest is at the same time, when I send everyone the link, you might want to subscribe yourselves to the MOD newsletter, because it's different ways to keep informed on different events and activities that are going on, not just from the Mass Office on Disability, but from the New England ADA Center, on new things that they're working on, new innovative ideas, new laws, new legislation. It's not heavy reading. It's only a couple of pages every month. It's a short newsletter, but it's a good way to help everyone stay informed. So that's one item. The second item is for the Friends of the Library. And to let everyone know, at our last Friends meeting, we proposed for the first time, and the Friends accepted, to offer CART services and ASL services for people who are hearing impaired at the 25th of March, when we have the candidates night. So far, we haven't had any takers, and we have a window up to 10 days prior to, so I do have it in reserve. If we had somebody who has a hearing disability reach out to me and say they needed CART or ASL interpretive services. If they don't, that's okay. But we thought, and I commend the Friends for taking the first step in town to formally say, we're offering this as something for you to be able to participate in this event. And as the COD, might want to consider ways to support other town activities and events, town meeting, things like that, to do the same going forward. Last thing I'll say for now, at least, is as a member of the Library New Building Committee, I've worked pretty closely with Mark and the rest of the committee so that the plans that we're working on now take into account all the aspects that we can so far, because we don't have an architectural design to work with, which we won't have until next week. But the architects do now know what we've done on the interior part of the building and how we've set the interior up, so that there's not only plenty of access and full access for wheelchairs, other disabilities as well. That includes the distance between the shelves and the bookcases. It includes the quiet spaces for people to use the technology. We've put technology specifically for people with disabilities in quiet other places. We're going to have a fully a second laboratory that's fully accessible in the children's area. We're working on the egresses so that we have other egresses for people with disability in case of an emergency. But I think that in the end, the town's going to be pretty pleased and pretty proud with what we're putting together for people with disability. They have on their agenda, which I'm not going to be able to be part of tonight, also more discussion potentially about services and programs for people with disability. So we're moving forward on that whole process. I will keep everybody informed, because that may be a monthly update for a while as part of what we're doing right now. So that's all I have for now, but I wanted to share all of that.
Thank you, Jonathan. Christina, is there anything that you want to share?
Yeah, sure. The regional CPAC has two upcoming event workshops. Sorry, one in March, and that's for dyslexia. Parents are obviously invited, but also teachers and other community members to learn about dyslexia and ways to help with that. I can send you the flyer for that. And one in April is for autism-related services, and that's going to be run by Jan Randall, who's a part of Community Autism Resources. So that one's going to be in person. The dyslexia workshop is hybrid, so it's either in person or Zoom, and that is run by people from the South Coast Educational Collaborative.
Christina, are there Facebook links or information to this available on Facebook?
Yes.
Could you
send you that as well?
Yeah, if you would send that to me, please. I'd like to be able to put it on our FB page too, so that for the ADA page that we have for the town of Dayton, whenever there are things like this coming up, if you could always forward them to me so that we can post them up there, that would be great.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so from there, we're going to move on to old business. Once again, discussion the KMA report, if anyone has anything new to say on it. I mean, I personally don't.
Christina, did I send you the access to the Google Doc with the KMA report?
Yeah.
Okay, because that was one thing I was unsure of. Yeah, I don't have anything new. I know like last time we had discussed it, like at the previous like full meeting, I was gonna do a little bit more work on isolating some of the stuff, so I got a little bit more sorting to do, and I think that will make it easier for us to get back on it. I don't really have anything.
And I think along the same lines also, I haven't been able to sit down with Michael yet and go over the parts of the KMA report that are really going to be more related to policy and procedure for the town versus what's not policy and procedure. There are some things that are going to be administrative and some that are not. And I think that's part of what we all need to look at too. And maybe we can try to, if everybody can take a look at that, and if Michael is able to join us for our next meeting, it would be a good time to really start to separate that out so that we can get going on some of those things.
That sounds
I
good.
think too, just like if everybody has a chance between now and the next meeting, if you go into the Google Doc and not necessarily edit it, but like we all have the ability to add a note. So like we can leave some notes in there. So it's like, hey, this is something I think we could move up or down the list instead of like sitting here and going item by item and trying to prioritize it. We can kind of just do that on our own. If something sticks out that we think is, should be a priority, just click add note on the side and do it that way. It might make it a little bit easier to streamline it when we do start discussing it.
All right, from there, we're gonna go to review and approve minutes from 2/15/2024. Did everyone have an opportunity to look over those minutes?
Yes.
Yes, all right.
Yep.
Can I get a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from February 15th, 2024.
Can I get a second?
Second.
And any discussion? A vote, please.
Aye. Kevin Smith, aye.
Tim Tulin, aye.
All right, thank you. And then we have public input. Do we have any public? We have no public, right?
Nope, nobody's on Zoom.
Okay, and nobody's here. So at that point, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will motion to adjourn.
And the next meeting date for us will be what before we adjourn?
Fourth.
4th, is that right?
Yes,
5 p.m.?
yes.
Thank you.
And then did I take a vote?
No, wait.
Then a vote,
Aye.
Aye.
and we are adjourned at 5:19.
Thank you all. Have a
All right,
great evening.
Thank you.